The sun may have just set, but we're just getting started, which is fitting because we are in the city that never sleeps. Although Toby here could use a little more beauty sleep. Ouch, Bran. What? We're twins, remember? Hey, brothers, can't live with them? I think you forgot to say can't live without him. Who says I forgot? Uh-oh. Anyway, Bran and I have seen the worst of home disasters. But today we are here in Staten Island, New York, ready to take on our toughest renovation yet.
Welcome to Gimmicks, a podcast about the high-concept, experimental, structure-breaking gimmick episodes of TV. From musicals to bottle episodes to an homage to reality TV. I'm David Arnold.
And I'm Derek B. Gale, the most devious bastard in New York City. And who's with us today?
Me! I am Matt Bruneau-Richardson, and I am a 2D animator and independent filmmaker here in Boston, Massachusetts.
Matt, thank you so much for being here. We are so excited to have you to talk about this episode, which is What We Do in the Shadows, and the episode Go Flip Yourself.
This is Go Flip Yourself.
I'm Bran, and this knucklehead over here is my brother Toby.
Hey, now we may not get along all the time, but one thing we do agree on is turning people's dream homes into reality.
If you're not familiar with What We Do in the Shadows, it is a mockumentary-style TV series based on the film of the same name, which was written and directed by Jermaine Clement and Taika Waititi. The series ran for 61 episodes over 6 seasons on FX from March 2019 to December 2024, so just wrapped very, very recently. The story follows a group of vampires in Staten Island as they navigate the normal modern world and related supernatural scenarios. I would love to hear, Matt, first of all, why are you here on this episode? What's your experience with What We Do in the Shadows? Are you a spooky bitch? Do you love the vampires?
So I'm not a particularly spooky bitch, as evidenced by, I know, podcasting is an audio medium, but my entire environment is pink, purple, and teal.
Yes, it's beautiful. It's perfect.
We discovered this show. My husband and I started watching it probably in like season 3, because it was one of those shows that we had started hearing from like everywhere we went, someone was talking about this show. Like Jake's friends at work were all obsessed with it. I was hearing about it from like my peers, and it was popping up on podcasts that I was listening to left and right. And it is very like, it is up both of our alleys. My husband is like slightly more spooky than me, but only slightly. But like, I have always loved TV shows or movies about like a magical mythical character in like a normal world and having to keep that a secret. So like this was very up my alley, yeah. And the comedy is like, it is a perfect show. It all works really, really well.
Yeah. It is kind of funny. Like, it's like, yeah, like I could see this show obviously appealing to people who already like gothic horror and romance and stuff. Gothic horror and what am I trying to say? Gothic romance and horror. I don't know where the romance came from. You know what I'm talking about. Spooky stuff, supernatural things. Like I can see that, but it does also make sense, I think, to what you're saying, like the secret life aspect of it and like the supernatural thing. Like you do a lot of stuff with like mermaids creatively and are inspired by that. And there's a lot of mermaid stories that are sort of like that, right? Like you're, walking around on your 2 legs and don't want people to know that actually in secret, in reality, you're a mermaid, right? Like it's kind of funny. Like, I don't know that I even really was thinking about the show in those terms, but that is exactly what it is. It very much is like a secret life situation. It's just that they're all like very bad at keeping the secrets.
They're very bad at keeping the secrets. And like, it's like almost like a workplace comedy because like they don't leave the house much. Like, I mean, literally the episode we're talking about today is entirely in the house.
Right.
But like I was watching all of the Witch Hat episodes, and the first one is them going into Manhattan, and like that they're just like, oh, we haven't been out in a while. We don't know what any of this is anymore. But yeah, like I love these kinds of stories. Every like time around like September, October, I start going back and rewatching Sabrina the Teenage Witch. And like I realize
Nice.
like, oh, like this is all very in vain. It's all very like a magic person is pretending they're not magic. Oh, and also like because you bring up the mermaids of it all, like one of my favorite movies is Splash.
Yes. So good.
The entire premise of Splash. It's incredible. It's wonderful. Like it is one of those movies that like I think when I saw it when I was like probably younger than I should have been watching it, but my grandfather was babysitting me, so he didn't care. But like it just like I was immediately like, oh, I love this. I love everything about this. And yeah, like it's just all of these kinds of stories I'm very into.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Derek, I don't actually know this. What's your background with What We Do in the Shadows?
Yeah, I started watching it in the first season, and I don't remember if it was like right at the top of it or not. I don't think I'd heard about it. It was actually my ex who I was living with at the time. This is gonna be the first of two times I'm gonna have to bring up how my ex influenced my like television watching in this episode. But this was one of the good things that he had found, which was had somehow heard about this show, and he was just sort of like, it's a new show. We can watch it on Hulu right now. It's like, all right, cool. Sounds great. I had not heard of the original movie at all. I don't know if at this point, 29, I guess I would have known Taika Waititi from like Thor or whatever, but like, I wasn't familiar with his filmography yet. I would be much later. But so I was just sort of like, I don't know, sure, whatever. And then like from the first episode, it's sort of like, this show's incredible. It's like it's really funny, which is good for a comedy, but I also think what struck me immediately is that I think this show strikes a really nice balance that is really hard for a lot of sitcoms to do now, where like I think for a long time, there was a lot of sitcom setups where like a lot of the jokes came from just characters being awful people who are horrible to each other. And then eventually I think audiences started noticing that and maybe being a little bit annoyed by that and just sort of like, why is everybody just so mean to each other all the time? It's like not less and less funny. So then I think the pendulum started to swing. And so you started to get a lot more comedies with a lot bigger hearts, and people are a lot nicer. But I think at some points, I think that pendulum maybe swings a little bit too far in the nicest direction, where it's like, well, now it's like not as funny because everyone is super nice to each other. Right. And this show, it was so striking that it's like, it is exactly in the exact right middle ground where like, by having the setup be surrounded around vampires, they are explicitly meant to be like demonic monsters who are murderous and like, by all accounts, evil. Like they're supposed to be evil, and they're really supposed to like not change either. Not supposed to change and grow because they're vampires. But that then means that any little bit of heart that comes up, which the show has a lot of still, but like any little bit that comes up feels like really impactful because it's like, oh, even like these fucking monsters can like be nice sometimes and can grow a little bit.
Yeah.
So it ends up being like the right balance of like being really mean-spirited in some ways because they are literally monsters, but it is still like a nice show to watch that makes you feel good, even while they're like literally like tearing the throats out of people in it. It's such a clever way to approach a show.
Yeah, it really is fantastic. I didn't get into it until after season 2 had already aired. And that happened in 2020. So, there was a lot of TV watching that happened in 2020. Yeah. But in particular, Mike and I made the decision to go up to Michigan and spend some time with family. And I still had to work because of the nature of my job was related to COVID. So I had to do all these things. And Mike was very, very worried about me. And he said, we need to put some sort of comedy on because the only thing your aunt has in the cottage is Dexter season 1, which is a banging season of Dexter.
But over and over again.
But maybe... Yeah, maybe not the mood. Miami was the mood, but maybe not the mood. And so we just chose to put on What We Do in the Shadows, and I cite this as like a huge buoy in my mental health because the show was so good at doing exactly what Derek mentioned, which is it's bright and enough levity to make you feel better after watching it, but I never felt saccharine, which is a thing that like listen, Derek and I, well on the record of being huge fans of Parks and Rec, but sometimes Parks and Rec can be a little too sweet.
I struggle to go back and revisit Parks and Rec kind of for that reason. Like it feels, I mean, especially now with like local politics, it feels a little, I mean, I'm literally an animator, so me using cartoony as a derogatory, it's sort of maybe self-defeating. But they stop feeling like real people at a point. Whereas like what I love about like what you both are saying about what we do in the shadows is like, I feel like that balance is so interesting because they're kind of highlighting humanity by showing how inhuman they've become. Like, how like the things that remain are like sentimentality. Like they love, like Nadia and Laszlo are like so devoted to each other, but also are so sick of each other because they've been together for an impossibly long amount of time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And then not for nothing, but like I kept watching the show because of Harvey Guinan. Like
yes.
I am a simple man with simple needs, and he is perfect in every single way.
Yeah. I'm so glad that this show is like really skyrocketed him into what he is now. It's just really incredible.
Yeah.
He's such a great actor. I saw him at he did a panel at DragonCon. I think it was after season 4 of this show. Because he was the only actor from the show who was there.
Wow.
So it was literally just a Q&A with just him.
Oh.
And he's just like such a delightful person, like so clearly like loves what he does, and being able to be like queer representation so explicitly in so many things now. Like every character he plays in things now is always like very gay, even when they're very different characters.
Yes.
Which I love, like in a good way, like not in that he's being pigeonholed or anything like that, but like in that it's sort of like he kind of owns that and brings that to all of his roles.
Yeah,
and I love that.
I've always kind of thought of him as like being like, it feels like him and Bo and Yang are like very kind of like similar, they're occupying a similar niche, but not in a way that they're like eating each other's roles or anything like that.
No.
Yeah.
Not at all, I don't think. No, but I totally pick up on what you're putting down, where they're sort of unapologetically queer. And I think we'll talk about it when we talk specifically about the cast, but I think Guinan brings so much queerness into the character of Guillermo. That also like I think makes Guillermo feel like a more full character by the end of the series.
Yeah. And I think that like the show is pretty like gay from the start, but I think it gets more and more queer as it goes along. And I have to imagine part of that does come from literally who's in the cast working on the show, you know?
Yeah. This is a very queer show. We love this show.
Yeah.
Spirits, uncloak yourselves.
I think someone summoned a breakfast burrito.
Coworkers die. Vampire roommates, they're forever.
Anyone who's a vampire is going to be there.
After years of working for you, I have seen werewolves, necromancers, a zombie, and several Babadooks, but that's where we draw the line.
Have you ever kissed a ghost? Or have the dark Lord wrought?
Just kidding. I'm fine.
But
Everything you want to know about vampires is right here.
It's peak TV, because you take one peek and you love it.
Am I right?
FX is what we do in the shadows.
Can I get a peep?
All episodes now streaming on Hulu.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the creation of this one. This one was created by Jimin Clement and Taika Waititi. I want to talk about them together first. I knew that they did this together. I knew that they did the movie together. I was unaware how coupled they were. Mm-hmm. So they meet at Victoria University of Wellington in the early 1990s, and they are two of a 5-man comedy troupe show called So You're a Man, which at first is selling out performances, and then they just sort of do the university orientation circuit in Australia and New Zealand. Fine, whatever. Sure. And it's like, so you have genital hair. Like, how do you grow up as a man? It's funny, it's whatever, but it gets them sort of like on everyone's radar. Sure. They then, just as a duo, form the Humor Beasts, and they do a stage show called The Untold Tales of Maui, based on the Maori legends of Maui. that leads to them in 1999 receiving New Zealand's highest comedy honor, the Billy T Award. And they sort of are tapped to do anything they want from this point forward, and they do. But it all sort of started with them doing this work together in a very comedic place, and then this really funny / really poignant exploration of Maori culture. In 2014, they co-write, co-direct, and co-star in the horror comedy film What We Do in the Shadows.
Yes. Have either of you seen that movie?
No, it's like it's at least on streaming. I think it's kind of hard to find now, isn't it?
It is a little hard.
Yeah,
it is.
It is
I've seen it, but I had to, I think, dig it up from
Yeah.
somewhere.
I also had to dig
Yeah.
it up, and then I felt like that digging was not 100% working. I did have fun watching it, but it wasn't this, I think, was my problem.
Well, I think the thing about the original What We Do in the Shadows movie is that it I think if you were watching it in 2014, it would have kind of blown your mind, and I
That's
think it
fair.
would have worked.
That's
I
fair.
think the problem, quote unquote, with it has nothing to do with the movie. It's just that you end up getting a TV show that delves into everything that the movie delves into more deeply because
Yes.
it's over the course of 61 episodes. You know, like it is. There aren't always cases where like a TV show of a movie like really works.
Yeah,
but this is
no.
a case where there's so much to mine from
Yes.
in the basic premise that like it almost is better suited as a show than it ever was in the movie. I think the movie is really good, but it does end up like if you revisit it, I do think you have to go into it with the firm in mind that it's almost kind of like the test pilot for this show in a way, even though
Yeah.
it wasn't intended to be that.
Well, there was another show that came off of the film, which covered these two police officers that are in the film. And
So Wellington
yeah,
Paranormal?
Wellington
Or, am I getting
Paranormal.
that name right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I watched the pilot for it. It was fine. It was very like New Zealand.
Sure.
I think it was the biggest thing I had to say about it. But it was fine. And the premise is amazing. Like it's two cops who deal with the supernatural, but are like the most Scully version of the police, almost to the point of like antipathy. Like they just don't care. Like, oh, a banshee is like terrorizing the neighborhood. Like, fuck, we got to go arrest this banshee. Like, well, it's fucking job. It's kind of incredible as a conceit, but I was able to get one episode and that was enough. That also impossible to find.
Yeah.
They have continued to work together. They will continue to work together. They are very close collaborators. Their most recent collaboration was the short-lived Time Bandits show starring Lisa Kudrow on Apple TV Plus, which no one knows about, including me.
That happened like riffing on like the Terry Gilliam Time Bandits?
Yes.
I haven't watched it. I was aware of it and like it's just like been in my watch list, but I never checked it out because like it looked fun. Like
Yeah.
I don't know how it actually turned out as a show, but like
Well, it turned out that there was just 10 episodes apparently
Yeah.
that no one ever saw because where did this come from? I
Yes.
never heard anything about this.
Apple TV hates marketing their shows.
That's what I'm about to say, Matt. I will give any listener $20 if you saw an ad for this because I never heard about this until it was brought up to me and I went, oh my God, Lisa Kudrow as the lead of a fun Terry Gilliam like adaptation. Fuck yeah, I'm in for this. And then it was canceled by the time I
Yeah.
heard about it.
Oh man, they had like animatronics and creature suits and puppets and shit. Oh my God. I'm
Yeah.
so mad. I need to check this out.
It sucks. I mean, it sucks that it was canceled.
I think the only reason why I was like even vaguely aware of it is because my husband and I do love the morning show on Apple TV Plus. And so like I think because of that, like our algorithms were like, oh, you're one of the 5 people who watch anything on this platform. So you get all of the ads for Time Bandits. And we were like, we'll check it out eventually. We were the wrong people for this ad.
Incredible.
So weird.
All right, well, let me talk about Clement by himself now. So this is one of the things he's best known as is being one half of the musical comedy duo Flight of the Conchords, which went on to have an HBO series of the same name based on the musical comedy act and is cited as Kristen Schall's big break. So that's why she's so connected to this universe as well, is that she's one of those people who like came from their work. And they do have a list of like people who just are their frequent collaborators. But
sure. Yeah.
Clement, I was surprised to see, is also like this wildly prolific character and voice actor. He was in Moana, Rio, Ratchet and Clank. He is one of the significant minions in the continued Minion universe.
That I did not know.
And he's locked into these Avatar films. He played one of the scientists in the Avatar, The Way of Water, and he will continue to do those for the next 2/3 films.
which will be
I
the
had no
rest of
idea he
his
was doing
career.
That's what I'm saying. I was shocked because I was like, I know this guy as like
No idea.
a behind the scenes guy, and I knew Flight of the Conchords, but I had no idea that like he's the crab in Moana. Like, he's just very known.
Yeah, that is the one. I remember when like that was announced and people were like, "Oh, what a weird choice." Like this is like what a throwback to like Flight of the Conchords. But I had no idea that they had done like the story of Maui and like that now it's all fallen into place. That makes a lot of sense.
And what an excellent tee up for me to talk about Waititi, because we
Yes.
know this man now. He's kind of a big deal now. But he started with these very independent filmmaker roots. Like that is what he did. Where these like
his early stuff is like, there's a lot of people that I think understandably like don't really jibe with like what he's done, you know, in the last decade or so, for various reasons. I have mixed feelings about a lot of his like recent movies, but his early stuff, like really incredible. Like Hunt for the Wilder People, like so fucking good. That movie is incredible. Sam Neill at his absolute hottest he's ever been in any movie of all time. Such a good movie.
It's wildly indigenous. I put it on last night because I did this research and I said, Mike, you don't have to watch this if you don't want to. Oh my God, we both couldn't take our eyes away. Just truly and honestly, what an incredible time.
I'm gonna have to check that out.
That movie made me like want to like live in New Zealand. Like genuinely, I'm like that's like my top list of places to visit is like New Zealand, because they make it look so beautiful in that movie. And Boy too is also like a really good movie that is often a little bit upsetting, and Taika's like really good in it in his role too. So yeah, like his whatever you think of him now, once he kind of got caught in like the, you know, studio system and everything, his early stuff is like, there is a reason why he like started, you know, gaining a lot of steam. His early stuff is really, really incredible.
Yeah. And what put him on that trajectory, I was surprised to learn, was that he's responsible for writing the first draft of what would become the film Moana.
This makes way more sense. Yeah.
Well, yeah, maybe. Yeah. Well, see how you feel when I tell you this, because he has joked very openly that the only thing that remained from his script were the words exterior ocean day.
That doesn't surprise me particularly, knowing what I know about not just Disney, the animation industry in general.
Yes.
That doesn't really super duper surprise me.
The outline of his script is available online. But the first draft of the script was, if it can be found, I did not find it. The outline was pretty cool because it was about how Moana was the only girl of a family of men.
Yes.
And it was a lot more about gender and kind of, I don't know, sounded like a much different movie, but an exciting movie nonetheless. Anyway, this puts him on the radar of like big studios, and so he gets the attention of Disney and is eventually invited to direct Thor. Thor Ragnarok was the one that he directed, and people seemed to like that, and then maybe were not as keen for the follow-up work that he did with Marvel.
Oh, yeah, right, because then he went to do, I don't think I've seen Love and Thunder, but like I'm not a Marvel guy. Like I've seen so many of them, but like I do like Thor Ragnarok. I was like, oh, this one I'm at least jiving with in some way. Like it's visually more distinct and interesting. Like it was, even though like there's still like, of course, like, oh yeah, like the Hulk is here for some reason, but like beyond that, like you didn't really need to have watched like 20 other movies to understand what was happening here. Yeah. And that is like, that's specifically what I struggle with Marvel, is the like homework. So the fact that he made a really cool looking one that didn't really require all of that, I was like, I'm in, let's go.
Yeah.
And I think you're good sticking with that one.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I'm not a Love and Thunder fan much at all. So
generally that is what I've heard. Yeah.
And I've heard some controversy over the next pick as well, which I had to find enough time with. But in 2019, he writes, directs, and co-stars in Jojo Rabbit, which wins Best Adapted Screenplay, and he is the first Indigenous person to win for Adapted Screenplay,
which is very cool. Yeah. I'm a Jojo Rabbit fan, but I understand I understand why people wouldn't, because it is a strange movie. But I'm glad that he got some level of accolades for it.
Yeah.
Also, worth shouting out, I think, you know, obviously Clement and YTT like created the show, and I think Clement works on it pretty substantially. I don't know if YTT how much YTT really is involved in the day-to-days for it. Really, he's kind of out of there.
He's out of there.
Pretty early, I think, outside of showing up. So I think a really important creative force is Paul Sims, who is the showrunner throughout the entire show. We've talked about him before because he created News Radio, and we have done an episode on News Radio. So yeah, he has a very extensive career in comedy. Listen to our News Radio episode if you want to hear a deep dive from him and a lot of thoughts from him, but worth shouting out because like this episode, especially, like he's the one who's really in charge of it at this point. I do also want to shout out, I think also important to the show, Stephanie Robinson, who's the producer of Atlanta, had also served alongside him as the showrunner for like the first few handful of seasons. She left the role. She had already left the show before this episode. I think like beginning of 4th season was like when her credits sort of ceased. So I'm not exactly sure what the story is there, but I think in terms of shaping the show of what it is until it gets to this point, I think I wanted to make sure she was shouted out too.
Yeah. I wish if we go back and watch this again, I'm going to watch it with a News Radio lens. I'm going to just think News Radio while I watch What We Do in the Shadows.
I mean, News Radio was a show that was unafraid of getting weird and high concept, and this show is unafraid of getting weird and high concept. So right there,
Yeah, it's pretty weird and high concept from the jump.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And the weird high concept episode that we are talking about today is from season 4. It's episode 8 called Go Flip Yourself. The original air date on this one is August 23rd, 2022.
I remember watching this episode and was like, we have to do this on Gimmicks.
Yeah.
Like this, the minute that I watched it. Cause I was still planning, the podcast. It would launch, I think. No, it had been going that year. It started at the beginning of 2022. So it had been on my list like while Gimmicks was going on. So, I was right there when it came out. The synopsis per IMDb for this episode is The Mansion Gets a Makeover, which I love how simple and straightforward that synopsis is.
It is perfect. I love it. It is also the synopsis on Hulu. I'm now double checking these after our conversation with Only Murderers in the Building. I just thought that it was fun that it is also the same thing. Just like this is like
it's good.
The easiest way to describe this.
Yeah.
Yep. I agree.
This one is written by Marika Sawyer. She is a writer on Saturday Night Live. Her active years are 2006, 2024, but she is just writing one episode a season starting in 2013. So most active 2006 to 2012. She is in the writer's room and writes for all 6 seasons of What We Do in the Shadows and is the credited writer on 8 episodes. Past work, she did a lot of things with John Mulaney. So they must have connected and worked well together on Saturday Night Live. And then she sort of followed him with a couple other projects. She also did some Martin Short projects, including the sitcom Mulaney, which stars John Mulaney and Martin Short. Not very good. And the Maya Rudolph Martin Short sketch show, Maya and Marty, which was panned for its writing. So I hate to bring that up, Marika, but people really did not like the writing on that show.
I forgot about that.
Possibly because for 8 episodes, there were like 70 writers credited for the show.
Yikes.
Derek, my jaw dropped when I looked at the writer list for this.
When was that? I don't remember that even happening, honestly.
I remember ads
totally
for it.
missed me.
I remember like seeing ads for it and being like, oh, nice. Like, this is kind of like a throwback. That's cute. And then heard nothing good.
2016.
Yeah. It was very Sonny and Cher is how it was sold to the world. Where Maya Rudolph was Cher, obviously. I don't know why I had to spell that out. But
I could see it going the other way. You never know.
Martin Short could do it. Martin Short could do it. Whoa. I do just think that it was maybe a little bit before the Maya Rudolph explosion in our lives. And so later, I think Maya would pull even more people in. And I don't think Martin was at his full fighting weight either. Short.
Yeah, it's just a bummer because I love a variety show and I think we need them back. And I hate that they tried and failed at one.
Didn't they just announce, am I making something up? I might be making something up. I thought they just announced that there's like a new variety show coming to, there's a rumor the Muppet Show is coming back.
I did hear that.
Yes.
I did hear that.
And
I need that, desperately want that to be true because I've been begging for that since forever.
Well,
honestly.
and like the rumors were really starting to bubble up as a bunch of the SNL writers were leaving, including Celeste Yim. And I was like, if Celeste Yim is going to write on the Muppet Show, this we it's Emmy Sunday. Next Emmys might look very different if that's to come to pass.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, my whole take on like Muppet Show variety show thing, because they've been struggling to figure out what they want to do with the Muppets for so long.
Yeah.
And it's like, if there is one singular advantage to the horrible state of a monopoly that we exist in where Disney owns everything, it's that it would be super easy for the Muppets to just have any fucking character from any franchise show up on the Muppet Show as a guest. They can do whatever fucking Daisy Ridley can just show up as fucking Ray on a Muppet Show
Bring it, girl.
sketch, and nobody has to complain because Disney owns all of it anyway. Like, I hate that, but like if we get some good fucking Muppet Show episodes out of it, at least we're getting something.
Yeah.
Thank you. This one was directed by Yana Gorskaya. We're going to be talking about her a lot.
Yes.
She made her feature debut as the editor with Spellbound, that documentary about spelling bees that was like everywhere in the early 2000s. Do you remember this?
Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I had to double check when I typed it because I was like, wait, is this the thing that like you couldn't walk around without somebody be like, have you seen this documentary? It's as if people had just discovered documentaries for the first time. And the editing is very good, is what I will say. But it is like a fine documentary. Like it maybe didn't deserve.
Never seen it.
Oh, it's just fine, Derek. It's just fine.
I feel like I saw it, like, I mean, I would have been in like grade school, but I think we watched it maybe like just because some teacher was like, this is vaguely academic. Sure.
I would go on dates and men would be like, have you seen this documentary? And I'm like, about spelling bees? Like, let's focus on the prize here, buddy. Like right here. Anyway, in 2007, she begins her first of what will become many collaborations with YTT, working as an editor on Eagle versus Shark.
Yes.
She went on to work on most of YTT's subsequent projects, including the original What We Do in the Shadows film, eventually branching out as a director, including 22 of the 61 episodes of What We Do in the Shadows and editing 33 of them. The first episode she directed of the show was On the Run, aka the Jackie Daytona episode.
Of course. What a classic. Like, of course. I think her being an editor is like really, really important. Like, her being both an editor and a director.
Agreed.
Because what we'll talk about, like a lot of the making of stuff is just quotes from her.
Yes.
And her being a director who is also an editor, I think I think shows how important editing is in reality TV more than any other medium, arguably. And why you maybe would need an editor to be in the director's chair for this, because that's kind of the whole thing of this episode is comparing like how Sheep's types of shows are edited.
Yeah. The editing, like, in watching this, the editing is what stands out the most to me, to the point that I was wondering, so I'm glad we're going to be getting into it. Like, I was wondering, like, did they bring in the team from like HGTV specifically to edit this together? Because it is too perfect. Like, of all of the shows that have like spoofed a reality TV show, this probably does it the best. As much as I love Queen of Jordan on 30 Rock, like, I think that still feels kind of like 30 Rock. This feels like a completely different show.
Yeah, put a pin in that, because I think we'll have a lot to say. Because I agree with you. I think it's like at the core of this, I think the experiment of this episode that we're gonna probably talk the most about is just that, like, what makes this feel different is the editing more than anything. The writing is the same. It's the editing.
Yep.
Yeah.
And people recognize it because as the editor, because Gorskaya didn't just direct the episode, she did edit the episode too.
Okay, cool.
As the editor of the episode, she did receive a Primetime Emmy nomination for Outstanding Picture Editing for a single camera comedy series alongside her fellow editor, Dane McMaster. If you want to get angry though, would you like to guess what they lost that Emmy to that year? For Outstanding Picture Editing for a single camera comedy series.
Was it The Bear?
Matt, yes.
It was The Bear.
Of course it was The Bear. The Bear is the best comedy on television that makes everybody want to cry. Like, I mean, I've never watched The Bear. I know it's my husband comes from like food service, so we can't watch it. He's like, it's gonna be too much. Like, just the trailers give him a panic attack, so like we can't watch it. But like, it's everyone's favorite conversation every year is like, oh yeah, that uproarious comedy The Bear.
Yep. I think she deserved the Emmy that year.
She did. I did look up McMaster too, because I thought, oh, was this somebody that they brought in from reality TV? Much like Matt's question. And nope, this was another editor who had worked with the series the whole time. And so when we talk about the editing of the show, just remember that both of these folks are emulating a practice that they are not seeped and versed in, which I think is why it's so fucking good.
Yeah. Let's talk about this epic fucking cast.
Such a good cast.
So this show obviously is very much an ensemble, which I think is really cool. I think it's the type of show that any person can have a different favorite character. The first to build is Kevin Novak as Nandor. He's a British actor with a lot of voice acting credits. He's recurring on Thunderbirds Are Go and Danger Mouse. He's also the co-creator and lead in a series called Phone Jacker, spelled Phone Jacker. Is that a British show, David?
It is a British show where he is essentially doing like crank calls. And let me tell you,
interesting.
I'm not prepared to say it's the greatest sin of the British Empire, but it's up there. He does the entire show in a ski mask, so you cannot see him. And this man is too attractive to hide from the world. What a strange choice.
Yeah.
So, he's sort of like this weird, like obscured host who calls people, and it's sort of like a prank show. It's sort of like a crank yaker show.
I was just going to say it's like Crank Yankers, but without the puppets.
I watched 5 minutes. It was fine.
I just want to say, when you go to Novak's Wikipedia page, you have like the whole panel under his picture where it like lists, born, occupations, years active, and everything. They have like his medium, his television and film. He lists the genres like character comedy, satire, sketch comedy. And then at the end is subjects, practical jokes.
Yeah.
I've never seen that before listed on someone's Wikipedia page as like a distillation of what they do.
Yeah. And
it's so weird.
Phone Jacker is like before What We Do in the Shadows is like the thing he was best known for.
I'm glad he's here now doing this instead.
Same. But in between the two, he did the like very British thing of like, oh, you remember that guy who did the funny phone calls? Now he's on our Spelling Bee show. Now he's helping present awards. He was on like all of those like British things. He's been on Graham Norton several times.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you though. Too attractive to have his face covered. And I love that this show really relishes in how fucking hot this guy is. Even when they have the character at his goofiest or at his worst, it's like never forget.
Yeah.
This man is hot. And so I love that like they let him. I mean, my favorite thing about this show is that like nobody's fucking ripped in this show. Nobody has like a TV or movie body. Everybody has like actually like genuinely really hot bodies.
Yes,
like
agreed.
And I fucking love that they let him have all his chest hair the many times that he's shirtless, and he's like a little bit pudgy but still very much in shape. Like beautiful fucking man. And I love that the show relishes in that.
Yeah, agreed.
Also very funny and just very good.
Oh, very
I was just
funny.
gonna say to like have this like gorgeous man kind of also be the most, I'll say, clueless one, because like while like Laszlo is like maybe dumber, like it's just the way that Nandor just like kind of is like approaching everything with like this like wide-eyed like wow sort of like very like low energy, but just like amazed at everything, even though like he's been around for how old is he? Is he the oldest one of the four?
He's the oldest at
one.
900 years of age at the beginning of the series.
Yeah. Like it's such a charming characterization for, especially like for this like stunningly gorgeous person in this cast.
Well, next up in the cast is Matt Berry, who is Laszlo. He's a British actor, similarly with a long background of roles recurring on The IT Crowd, House of Fools, Disenchantment, Moomin Valley, where he plays an animated cow, and Crapopolis, which Derek and I got to talk about last year.
Because we didn't talk about the show, but we talked to a writer on the show, Danielle Weisberg, because she was on our Rugrats episode and talked about a lot about her.
I was like, I know we've talked about
Crapopolis.
this.
Yeah,
because we praised her for making Matt Berry unattractive in the episode.
Yeah.
Berry created, starred in, and earned a BAFTA for the series Toast of London, where he plays a weird writer. No, I have never seen it.
Have you ever? No. It's so fun. It's so fun. Oh, okay. It's. I mean, yeah. It's very funny. There's like memes. I can't think of them off the top of my head right now, but there's definitely, if you've seen some out of context clips of Matt Berry sometimes, and he has a white stripe in his hair. It's coming from Toast of London. It's, it's a very, very shiny show.
Yeah.
Like one of those shows that like we've maybe not seen, but like if we were to watch it, we'd be like, oh, that, okay.
You will have seen things from it. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Also, Garth Marenghi's Dark Place. I don't know if you've ever seen that. That one is also a very funny show that he is in. That it's like very much like a parody of like low budget 80s horror. Like it's like made to be a parody, and I think it was only like 6 episodes or something. It was a very short run. But it's like specifically made to even look like the quality of an 80s television show, the way it's lit and filmed, and like the way it's acted, and all of the plot lines are like very absurd and like soap opera and everything. It's just like really, really, really brilliant.
Yeah.
The guy's done a lot of great stuff and is a really, really great work, and I think is like been someone that people have loved for a very, very long time. And I don't know if it's good or bad, the timing of when we decided to record this.
I was wondering about that.
Like on one hand, I am glad that maybe we didn't record this like 3 weeks ago to come out later, because then we would have been like, well, shit, we probably have heaped tons of praise on Matt Berry as a wonderful person. Yeah. And now the episode has to come out. But also, it would have been nice to live in a world where we could have just praised Matt Berry for a while before knowing.
Yeah.
If you're listening to this and you're not quite sure what Derek is talking about, Berry is among the talented set of British actors who have chosen to abandon their allyship with the queer community by participating in the audiobook narration for Harry Potter and its related works, in lieu of the author's continued attacks on the queer community and transgender people in particular. So while I certainly hope that we have fun talking about Berry's performance, which is very good, I think that he was well known as a queer ally, and it is very discouraging to see that casting decision for a very small role in that audiobook.
Yeah, I don't even know who. I saw his name pop up, and I don't even know who he's playing in it.
I don't know either.
One of the paintings. He's like one of the paintings. It's nothing. It's like it's gonna be like 20 lines.
It's like throwing away your fucking legacy for that. Like, he still has a chance to back out of it or speak out or something. Like, all of the people that are involved do have a chance to respond in some way, but so far nobody's responded. Either they haven't responded, or if they have responded, it's in a way that's like very, very half-assed.
Yeah.
I'm looking at you, Michelle Gomez. With you're like, oh, I feel for you, but I'm gonna take my Amazon money anyway and still do it. By the way,
that one was wild. That was I was seeing an interesting conversation happen on Blue Sky this week from it all, of like how like obviously things here in America not great. We're not doing pretty much anything well. However, it does seem like the UK has cornered transphobia in a way that like all of these celebrities who you'd think are like, you would think that they're global and they like really have an understanding of like the overall like global culture, and how J.K. Rowling's comments have a very real effect.
Yep.
But just because of, or potentially because of the culture of the UK, I've never been. I don't know anything about it really. But like, it seems like just because of the transphobic culture of the British culture overall, I don't want to call them a monolith, but like they're maybe aware of it and are just like, but it's fine. Like this is whatever.
Yeah, it's disappointing and frustrating, and I guess I'm happy that only one of the British cast, because this is a mostly British cast.
Yeah,
only one of them did show up in that. But Matt Berry, you still have a chance to make things right. Kissing Me is on the line, so if you would like to smooch, you got to go denounce that role.
Because you know he's a really good kisser, and that makes you really mad. I can't lose a good kisser, a good hot bear kisser in the world. We don't have enough of them.
We can salvage this one.
I know.
Well, next let's talk about Natasha Demetrio, who plays Nadja. This is her first big break. Her first big break is co-starring with her brother Jamie, who has been in Fleabag and The After Party. Jamie Demetrio. on his series Stath Let's Flats, which is a semi-auto...
Let's Flats?
Oh, I know. I can't believe I started talking it, even though I knew I had to say those words. It is a semi-autobiographical internet sketch show about the son of a real estate agent trying to prove himself as worthy heir to the company. And they're all Greek. That's the whole sort of like thing of all of it. They're Greek immigrants to the UK. I watched one of these. It's really funny. And I didn't...
Really?
When I read it, I was like, who was he in After Party? Well, he's like the person no one can remember in After Party season 1.
Oh, that's so funny.
I was like, oh no, I forgot him. Like, how terrible.
I mean, I guess he played his role well then, I guess.
Yeah. But that's, what has put her on the radar for folks. And then she is cast for What We Do in the Shadows, which is what she is frankly best known for.
And she is my favorite part of the show. Like, just all the way through.
She's great.
Just incredible. Like,
yes.
And then the only other thing I've seen her in is she's in the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie playing a bat, which is like,
that's right.
And using the same voice. Cause like, I know like whatever this accent is not how she goes about in the world, but like,
no, she's very British. She is very British.
Yes. And like, I also don't know, like, that's another thing that I love about this show is like, I know she's the youngest of the vampires, but like, she's still so old that her accent is just from nowhere now.
Right.
It's just like, it's nonsense. But no, she uses like a very similar voice as the Bat in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And I was like, this is so funny. Perfect.
I love that. I didn't even catch that. So that's fantastic to see. I would have normally put a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles credit on the list as I mostly podcast for Derek. So like I wouldn't have missed that, but I did not catch that.
That movie is so good. I love it so much.
Good.
Check it out.
It's a wonderful movie. It is shocking that like she hadn't done a ton of significant stuff before What We Do in the Shadows, because she fits right in with like all the veterans,
Yes.
I mean, I guess that's the brilliance of this whole cast is that like they all feel like they were made for these roles.
Agreed.
Yes.
And like all, like there's not a weak link here. They are all on the same level.
Yeah. And then we've got our perfect boy, Harvey Guillen.
Yes.
Who plays Guillermo. He's born Javier Guillen, but he was given the nickname Harvey after his classmates in elementary school refused to or were unable to pronounce his name, Javier. A pretty well-known name.
Yeah.
It's like actually easy to pronounce. That's so weird.
Yeah, it's funny because obviously we're all queer men. We want to celebrate the queerness of Guillen, but I think that there's a lot of shame about him being Mexican as well that he has gotten over through his acting. And this was I watched a couple of interviews with him that like really made me cry. This was one of the stories that like just broke my heart because, and I don't remember if I put this in or not, but he wouldn't use the accent on the E in his name out of fear of not getting roles in Hollywood.
Oh, it is really fascinating. I mean, it's upsetting, but it is fascinating how recently it seems like people are starting to drop, like if they're white passing, they're really starting to just drop and be like, no, it clearly there is this culture now that thinks everyone from Mexico is a monolith. Because like the one who always comes to mind for me is James Rhodey Rodriguez from Psych. Because he like did that entire show and like 2 of the movies under the name James Rhodey. And then he was like, I'm actually Mexican. I dropped all my names to get more parts in Hollywood. And I'm really tired of that. I'm really tired of pretending to be something that I'm not. And I want to be able to celebrate my Mexican heritage. So like I'm now bringing my last name Rodriguez back. And like has continued to do Psych under that name. So like that is, I think it's interesting. You hear about stuff like that, and I think you think it's like the 1950s and 60s that people were because is it Rita Hayworth?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I think that's what comes to mind, and it's like no, it's something that's been happening in like the 2010s maybe.
Yeah. So he cites Guillermo as like his breakout role, and that will obviously become true. But his first television role as a recurring character was on the ABC family show Huge, which was about kids at a weight loss camp.
Yikes.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Instead of choosing to watch something that Derek said was a wonderful piece of media, I chose to watch one episode of this, and I did not like it.
Christ.
Yeah. That's quite the name to go with for that premise. Okay.
It feels a little bit like it's supposed to be showcasing the problems associated with those sorts of facilities, but it does it does not do that. And
right.
It makes it seems very, very clear that can become really exploitative really quickly.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Oof.
But since landing What We Do in the Shadows, and this is where he changes his name and now presents his name as given at birth. Well, still Harvey, but Harvey Guillen with the accent over the E. He's done a ton of voice acting. He is the voice of the titular Funhouse on Mickey Mouse Funhouse, which I watched one of. It's cute. I didn't know we were still making Mickey Mouse cartoons. We are making a lot of Mickey Mouse cartoons.
So many.
He's like a main character. The house talks to them. He talks every episode. It was a lot of fun.
I had no idea. I knew that Mickey Mouse Funhouse was still going on because, like, I think it's also technically a revival at this point. Because, I working in animation, I see some of this, but then also I have a bunch of nieces and nephews. So like I'm getting animation from like all different age ranges right now, and like I knew that show was back. No idea he was in it. That's so funny.
Yeah, I mean he's done a lot of voice acting.
Oh
too.
yes,
like he's Nightwing in the Harley Quinn show, like alongside other things, which like never like galaxy brain casting. I never would have thought of him for Nightwing.
It took me so long.
So good.
When I saw that he was in it and like
so
I was watching it, I was like, is that him? Is he someone else? Like what a different muscle to flex for him.
Yeah. Well, he's saying no to tons of roles because he gets to say yes to so many things. He's voicing a character on the Kung Fu Panda television series. He's Odie in the Garfield movie, whichever 7th iteration of the Garfield movie that was. He is one of the main characters in the Puss in Boots: The Last Wish film.
That's the one. I still haven't seen it. I need to. Literally everyone
so
on the
good, Matt.
Literally
so
everyone
good.
on the movie that I'm working on has told me I need to watch this like once every 2 months. They're like, "How have you not seen this yet?" But like I knew that he plays like the cute little chihuahua thing, right?
Yes, you would love him. I mean, you already love him. You will love him more.
Yes.
My pro tip is don't watch it on an airplane. That was a mistake that I made. A film that is guaranteed for me to sob in public.
Yep.
It's also like the visuals of that movie are beautiful, so you need to see it on like a bigger screen than the tiny little airport seat one.
we bought it afterwards. And he has a recurring role on the Amazon show Reacher, which I was like, why? You're like this fun queer guy. Derek, Matt, are you aware that like outside of the titular character Reacher, everyone in the show is kind of like diverse, fun, and gay? Like
I have heard good things.
I have
Reacher.
heard a lot of jokes and memes about how Reacher is like everything about Reacher is a very gay show except for Reacher.
All I see are just the pictures of the most giant man who's ever existed.
Yeah.
And I know he solves crimes.
I've been fascinated because it's like Alan Richardson plays him, and I remember Alan Richardson from showing up as Aquaman on Smallville and being really, really bad because it was like the first thing he did outside of his modeling career. And then
he was bad.
Like he's so bad. Like I mean, like I think in retrospect, he's doing his best. He had never acted before in his life, and they threw him to be Aquaman, and he was bad at it. And then he basically just like took acting lessons, grew a personality, got really big, and now he's like really, really smart and nice and like very politically outspoken. Like in the best possible ways, and then working with a bunch of fucking queer people on this action show. And I'm like, okay, I've never had a harder turnaround on like a straight man I didn't like, but here we are.
Yeah, I know that like there's been some commentary on the fact that like Reacher like could be a bigger show amongst like conservative people, but because the actor is so outspoken that it's just not happening, that like they get so turned off because he's like, I know what I look like. I know what you're expecting from me. I'm not giving it to you.
Incredible.
And it's great.
I love it so much.
Love him. And then most recently for Guyan, it is the 2025 film Companion, where
he's so good in it.
So good in
he
it.
gets to play a fucking asshole piece of shit but still like a very, very gay. Like it's great. He's so good in that movie. If you want to see Harvey just like be a fucking hateable dick.
Yes.
He's so good
So
in it.
good.
He is having so much fun in that movie. That movie is fantastic. I love that movie so much.
Matt,
It's so good.
I would increase that on your, Puss in Boots first, but definitely
Okay.
check out Companion. And
Yeah.
by the transitive property, Harvey Guillen has now kissed Nick Offerman because in Companion he kisses Lucas Gage. Lucas Gage kissed Murray Bartlett. Am I fucking that up?
No, I think that's
Murray,
his name.
Murray Bartlett kisses Nick Offerman. Yeah, I got there. Lucas Cage is in there as well.
Yes. Okay. Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's who we get there.
I also have to shout out, he was in the Werewolves Within movie, which feels relevant to like what we do in the shadows.
Yes.
And it's also like kind of a little bit of an asshole in that movie too, and also like very gay. So like I like that he's still playing in the horror zone, but like in very different ways than the character he played in this show.
Yes. He's openly gay. I think we've talked about that a couple times. And for the
really?
Yeah, I know.
Couldn't guess.
Who would've thought? For the character of Guillermo, he has spoken in an interview with Looper. He said, for so long, the backstory to Guillermo is the reason he's been so enamored with the idea of being a vampire is because he thinks that's what he needs to be his authentic, true, free self, whatever that means for him. And that's the quote that I was like, oh yeah, like he's seeking the fulfillment of something by wanting to become a vampire. That is a very queer lived experience. So not only is a character that is queer, he's a character with a motivation that's really grounded in queerness. And I loved seeing that.
Well, and I think like what I was also thinking about this as I was watching it last night, but like I think so many of these kinds of stories, like going back to the like mythical creature in the normal world thing, like why that resonates so much with queer people is it's because like, oh, they have a secret and they have to keep that secret, but it makes them so cool because like Sabrina's a witch, Madison's a mermaid, like these people are all vampires. So to have a queer character who's essentially the lead, like it's all kind of through his lens, which like I know was kind of like an advent of his casting, because I think he was supposed to be like Guillermo was supposed to be like a much older character and kind of just a bit part.
Yes.
But like, so to have like the kind of cipher into this world be a queer person who's gravitating towards other people with a secret, it's like sort of found family, but like it's just like it's kind of like I guess canonizing the subtext of a lot of this style of show or
Agreed.
this style of narrative, and that's just like really again like sort of inventive, but like just very nice to see and very familiar. Literally familiar.
Yeah. That's like the main cast. Technically he's barely in the episode, but I do think it's worth shouting out Mark Prushk because like he is part of the main cast, even though he's not really part of this, because I forgot this is during the season of the show where he's like been reborn as a baby and is like a child that shows up for like 2 seconds in this episode. But I want to shout him out because he's also really great as Colin Robinson, the energy vampire, which is such a fucking fantastic conceit. But also, so I didn't know this until like literally today. Bruce started off as like basically doing performance art. Essentially, he had the alias of K Strass, where he would like show up in like a newscast, like local news as a quote unquote yo-yo master, and his whole bit was that like he would make up all of these stories teaching environmentalism, and then when he would try to do tricks, he would like be really bad at them, which is like feels very much in the same vein of like the sort of sense of humor of this show with characters who are overconfident in their abilities, but very, very awkward and actually can't do shit. 100%. Like that was his thing and how he started getting noticed, and then eventually like landed on The Office. Like it's so wild.
I have seen clips of this, like completely unrelated to who he is. This makes so much sense.
Yeah. And he's like, I mean, not that any of them are like brand new. I mean, not any of them are brand new, but he's like the most prolific person who is on the main cast.
Yeah.
Which
wild.
is also
he was
wild.
the only one who I came in having seen somewhere before.
Agreed. And if you've watched anything that was shot in Vancouver, you have seen this man in a part. He was in West Wing. He's been in X-Files. He's started on everything. But there are a couple of guest casts that I do want to talk about. The first are Jason and Randy Sklarl, known collectively as the Sklarl brothers, who play Toby and Bran. They are identical twins who do comedy together and are best known for their various web series and doing sports comedy reporting on SportsCenter, for example, or they were the hosts of BattleBots.
Makes sense.
Oh,
Yeah.
sure. I knew them from, I watched Chelsea Lately all the time.
Yes.
And they were regular panelists on Chelsea Lately. So that's when they popped up here, I was like, oh, how strange. I haven't seen them in a while at this point. Because I'm not a sports guy, so I fell off pretty quick.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well,
they're recognizable, I think, is like one of those guys where it's sort of like, I recognize them from somewhere. And it's because they probably popped up in like one episode of a comedy somewhere in some guest role.
Yes. And they're often, I mean, because they are identical twins, they are often cast as twins, including playing conjoined twins on Grey's Anatomy, where they were this old and being detached, which is, it felt like a stretch even for Grey's Anatomy, but here we are.
Where were they attached?
They were attached on their side, and they were tired of living next to each other. It was, I mean, it was played for total comedy. I never really know what's going on with Grey's Anatomy. They were on Better Call Saul. They were the owners of a barbecue place. They were on It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. They were the DJs at the Dance All Night episode. They've been on Law and Order, Entourage. They've been on a ton of things, and very rarely without each other, but occasionally without each other. They co-starred with Nick Kroll in the web series Layers. Only important because we'll be talking about Nick Kroll in a second. And Randy is married to Amy Sklarl, an interior designer who participated in the HGTV reality competition Design Star.
Wild.
Oh,
that's so funny.
So he talked about getting tips from her of the things he should say to sound like he was on HGTV.
That's so funny because there is a particular cadence that they have as announcers and hosts in this show that makes so much sense.
Yes. I was similarly trying to figure out what the connection would have been, and that's such a cute little connection that like your wife was on one of these shows, so you've watched it, I'm sure, and like because it is again like everything about this episode perfectly emulates that, and that includes their casting because they also have the look 100% of like they, of course, like as like attractive but not absurdly hot white men. They make perfect sense.
They're very approachable.
Right. Exactly. Yes, they're very approachable. And like, but the cadence is particularly impressive.
Last but not least, in the guest cast is Nick Kroll. Nick Kroll is a writer and comedian. Breakout acting role was the ABC sitcom Caveman, based on the Geico mascot of the same name.
Really?
That's where he started?
This is Breakout role. And what he cites as the most important role of his professional career, because it's what got him connected and launched into other people's stratosphere. I also chose to watch one of these in an insane moment of my life.
I mean, I watched it when it came out just out of curiosity, but I don't think anyone approached that show out of anything but like, we know the show cannot last, but we're going to have to check it out and see why it's happening at all. And everybody agreed, I think, that it was bad.
Oh, it was bad, but can I be honest with you? I had fun. I mean, I had fun. Like, I didn't want this to be on television. I wanted this to be Big Mouth, I guess, because it like there was enough like subversive humor that came out of it. I had a good enough time. I was shocked it was a 22-minute sitcom.
I have heard that like it's because I think one of the other podcasts I listened to like did not a deep dive on it, but I think they covered an episode a while ago, and like
interesting.
I've heard generally that like it's aged pretty well. Like if it was like maybe another time or like I think just the sheer fact that like every single headline was like they're turning those Geico commercials into a sitcom like kind of killed it immediately because like I don't think anyone has ever said, you know what I want to watch for half an hour? A commercial. I would love to watch one commercial for 30. I mean, I guess that's infomercials, but still not on ABC primetime. How strange. I had no idea that anyone launched from that show.
I'll say they are all on YouTube if you would like to go enjoy it. That was not hard media to find.
Nice. Yeah. Well, the gimmick of this episode, just to spell it out, if you're looking for a trope, it's a reality TV episode, which is sort of funny for this show particularly because the show already is a mockumentary anyway. It already is very reality TV show adjacent. So like you mentioned, Matt, like the 30 Rock episode, we've covered that 30 Rock episode that basically does like a Real Housewives riff, but it's a bigger departure theoretically for 30 Rock because they're not anything like a reality show. They're not filmed like one. What We Do in the Shadows already is a mockumentary style, so it already has like a shaky cam, talking heads, like the way that they say their dialogue is meant to sound just like people saying stuff off the cuff, and there's a lot of improv to make it sound like it's reality TV already. So it's sort of an interesting experiment to be like, how can we have these two things that are in a similar zone, but show how different they actually are when you actually edit them differently, which is why I say that I think the big part of this episode is just showing you how much of a difference editing makes, more than anything else. And so what they end up riffing on is a very, very like corporate and direct homage to stuff that you would see on like HGTV or TLC, specifically like home improvement programs, right? Home improvement, interior design, those types of things. Your trading spaces, your Love It or List It, your Extreme Makeover Home Edition, which I guess was ABC, but still in the same zone.
Yeah.
What was what's the husband and wife that have all the stuff they sell at Target
Fixer
now?
Upper. Fixer Upper. You're talking about Chip and Joanna Gaines.
Fixer Upper.
Yes.
Chip and Joanna Gaines. Yes. All stuff that my ex was really into. So I've seen a lot of all of those things, mostly against my will, although they can be a little bit addictive after a while. And you do get a lot of really good ideas from them.
They scratch the right itch. Like when you're in the right kind of mood, they are effective.
Yeah. So my ex introduces me to What We Do in the Shadows and HGTV. One of them better than the other, but both of them extremely valuable for this podcast.
True. This episode was made for your ex, I guess.
I guess so. Yikes.
Sorry.
We don't like that.
It's okay.
I do like that they went as far as hiring Tina Marasco, who was the narrator of Love It or List It Vancouver.
I was wondering about this narrator. I was like, she must have.
Funny.
It's because it's perfect.
It's identical.
Like, it's just, I was like, she must have. I meant to look her up because like, she also sounds like, she just sounds very familiar. And like, it's probably because she literally does this.
Yeah.
Literally
Do you all have a lot of experience with like home renovation HGTV type shows?
Not so much home renovation, although I have been obsessed with this new trend of going back and watching whatever that 90s one where they like paint rugs on the ground and it's insane looking.
Trading Spaces, I think, isn't it? Because that's the one where they have the terrible designers. That show is really fun to watch now because it's horrendous.
We grew up watching Trading Spaces. My sister was obsessed with it. No, I'm thinking of, I think it's called Design Sense. It's like, it is from when like HGTV launched. So it's like 1996. And it's like, it's now this trend on, I think, TikTok, which I don't have. So I've been watching YouTube show me TikToks of people watching. I'm watching 3 different people watch a TV show from 30 years ago. But it's like, we're going to like spruce your home up on a budget. And then they paint a rug on a hardwood floor because it's like $5. And everyone's like, you can buy a throw rug.
I need to look into this.
It is wild.
This sounds so fun.
Derek,
oh my God, I'm obsessed with this.
And they've now like because of this trend, they've gone back and interviewed the hosts and they were like, so did you know it was crazy? And she was like, yes, we knew, but we had like a day to film it and a budget. So we were doing whatever we could to this house. We did not care.
Yes.
Oh my God.
So I don't watch a ton of like,
check this out.
I don't watch a ton of home reno shows, but like when I'm in, it's been a minute, but when I'm in the right, like, no thoughts, just vibe sort of mood, I will watch Caribbean Life or Island Life, where they they do the like, they go to 3 different places and like pick their favorite house, even though they bought it like 6 months before the episode was filmed. And that is like, it's got enough shared, like they're cousins. They're not, there's enough shared DNA that I was like picking up on a lot of familiar tropes.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
The show is different in different markets, but you might just know it as Home Designs. And Derek, for your market, it would have aired on the Family Channel.
Okay, so I probably came across it because I watched the hell out of the Family Channel.
Yeah,
but I'm gonna look into this because it sounds like so my shit.
The logo is just like a white window and the words Home Design. It is
of course,
low
budget.
Low budget. As for me, we were big watchers because I am married to someone who is very, very interested in them, and to the point that I had to say we have to stop doing this. This is just it's not good for me. We are, of course, eligible to be on House Hunters International. as we have lived in a foreign country for more than a year and have maintained the same domicile, which is a requirement to be on the show, to look for your house.
You have to already have been living in the country you're looking to move to for a year.
That's correct. And who can receive the compensation, Matt? Not me, but my landlord only.
What?
Yeah. Most landlords will take it off your rent, but you are not allowed to accept it. It can only go to the owner. And they require you to hire movers on your own expense to move all of your furniture either into another room when they shoot the empty rooms, or make it look different enough, take down anything that's personal. This was not worth it. Although I did really want to be a version of myself that walked into some place and be like, too much charm, and just be like the stupidest person you've ever met.
That is, I knew, like, under no circumstances do I ever think reality TV is real, but I had no idea you had to actually be living there for minimum a year to even look to move to this country. That's so funny.
Yeah.
All of that is diabolical. Everything you just said.
Yeah. We've known people who have participated in the process. Their show didn't even make it to air. So then the compensation that their landlord was promised was not given. This is
my God.
Yeah, girls, this is not a great world. This is a bad world.
Oh,
Jesus.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, like, again, there's a reason why, like, every single channel was doing reality TV for, I mean, they still are. And it's because they can get away with, like, one, it's super cheap and they can get away with shit like this. But, like, that is bonkers.
Yeah, that's actually a really good transition. I'm not gonna do the full thing on this, but I do want to talk a little bit about where these programs came from. So we've had reality TV for like fucking ever. Like, where did it come from? There are a couple places that cite that they know where reality TV started. One of them was Nazi propaganda sitcom of like the ideal Aryan family that was put on by the German government in the early 1940s. But then one of them was a sweepstakes called Queen for a Day, where it just is like, what does a woman need to feel good? And so like, I would love to believe that the sweepstakes program was the first one, not the Nazi one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Although Chip and Joanna Gaines, we'll talk.
Well.
But I think for the purposes of home reno shows, our conversation begins in 1979 with This Old House and Bob Vila. So if you've never seen this, it was originally a 13 episode series that was produced by the Boston Public Broadcasting Channel, WGBH. They had bought a home and they said, we're going to hire this guy to like walk through what it takes to renovate an old home, and we're going to film him. And it is the least HGTV program ever, because it's like Bob Vila shows you how to cut boards and how to screw screws. It is very educational. But the series becomes wildly popular, and by its 5th season, it is anywhere that does PBS has This Old House.
We loved This Old House growing up. Like, my dad loved that show.
Derek, did you ever watch This Old House? I mean,
I don't remember. I mean, I know This Old House, but I don't remember ever watching it. So I don't think that was a thing that was ever playing in my household.
I always changed the channel, which is a shame because Bob Vila was very handsome. I just didn't know. I just didn't know that yet. But season 5, which ironically is when the master carpenter grows a beard, is when the show becomes what it will be known for, which is that there are celebrity contractors. They interview the homeowners, because in the first season, you don't know who the house is owned by the radio station or the broadcasting station.
Right.
It's not a home reno show. It's like they bought an old house just to do this bit on. But
funny.
By season 5, it really is what is to become. So put that aside, because it runs until 2021. So that program is still going on. But meanwhile, in 1972, there is a distance education project that was designed to increase public education in the Appalachian region, where they launched satellites into space and beamed down programming because it was too expensive and too unlikely that anyone would ever run cable to a lot of the rural parts of Appalachia. They would go on to run cable to most of Appalachia. But it all started with this. And so these satellite programs beamed information down. At first, I was like, oh, like, here's a square, here's a fruit. No. Like, here's how to build a car. It was like technical college level dynamic information.
That's really cool.
That's awesome. Yeah.
It's fucking baller. And it's cited as like one of the best uses of this kind of remote teaching technology in the 70s. Obviously, we can do it with like the internet today. But by 1980, cable was so much more ubiquitous, so the project wasn't really necessary anymore. NASA took back their satellites because this was a partnership with like the federal government and everything. NASA took back their satellites and they said like, well, we still like doing education, so we're going to form the Appalachian Community Service Network, which is going to do the same thing but with cable, and we'll do things like, here's this frog you never knew about. Fun. By 1982, that Appalachian program is nationwide. It's at 70 cable affiliates, so they rebrand to the Learning Channel and become a for-profit company.
Oh boy. Oh no.
It doesn't go so well. The rebrand actually really hurts them, which is strange because I think that if you're in California, would you log onto something called the Appalachian like Learning Channel? But whatever.
Yeah.
So they get bought out by a company called Infotech Inc. Infotech Inc. are the bad guys of this story. They are terrible. They are bad. They instantly go bankrupt and they end up selling the remainder of their work, or all of their assets, to various places. Their financial news network gets bought by NBC. It becomes CNBC, and it's the reason we have 24-hour financial news. And TLC gets bought by their rival, Discovery Channel. The Discovery Channel, after making this purchase, immediately starts floundering financially. And they're like, how can we make more people watch the Learning Channel? And in 1998, the Learning Channel rebrands as Life Unscripted, because that is what they are going to move into. Not cool videos about frogs, but instead, what can we do with unscripted television? And
they realize people just hate learning, and therefore we're going to actually make them eventually just start making them dumber, is what the mantra becomes.
True story. That is what leads us to Trading Spaces. Trading Spaces is based on a UK program called Changing Rooms that had already been on the air for a few years and was pretty successful. So we went and stole the formula. And for the first year, it is exactly the same as the UK version, which means that it's actually quite boring. They redo each other's rooms. Everyone loves them and they're happy. Fine, great. TLC, or the Discovery Channel more in particular, is not happy about this. They need ratings. So in season 2, they bring on a new host, Paige Davis. Then they change their production philosophy to encourage conflict. And this is where the maybe famous scene of a woman who's like, don't touch my fireplace, don't touch my fireplace. And they completely change her fireplace and she has to leave the room, was like one of the first meme experiences of reality TV.
We are in the room. Okay. Open your eyes and see your new family room.
Wow.
Well, I really like the wainscoting.
You do?
I really do.
It's different.
The big question is, what do you think about the fireplace?
You guys are going to be fixing that in a little bit. So,
Yeah, well.
I'm going to have to leave the room now.
You're that disappointed?
Well, I'm going to have to.
Yeah, that's... Boy, she's not happy. She's really not happy.
Yeah, I remember it almost like a game show. Like there was like some like almost gamified aspect. Although I might be thinking of like a junior version because like like it was very popular in my house, and at the time my sister probably would have been in like middle school or something. And so I remember like it felt like a game. Like it was wild.
Yeah, I just remember like a lot of game, like I think part of the gaming aspect and sort of like framing one of the designers as a villain, like it ended up resulting in just like some of these, like it's sort of like the reason you watch the show isn't because you want to get design tips or like see people's homes change or like sort of see a cool story or whatever. It's more sort of like, is this gonna be an episode with like a really, really ugly, crazy one? And then like you'll get like the room where it's like all black and they even paint the person's plants black. I remember, and sort of like, cool, so you just like kill their plants now. Or like the straw, the wall where they just put a bunch of like hay and straw on the wall. Like just wild shit, which is like, you know, again, pretty antithetical to the Learning Channel for this. It really is just sort of like you're coming there for the shock and awe of seeing how ridiculous some of these rooms can be and how upset the homeowners will be at seeing how their rooms have been fucked up.
You're learning how to tank your property value, and that's about it.
Right.
property value, you say, well, you're looking for the sister company HGTV if you're interested in property value, because TLC now says we've got a hit on our hand. Life Unscripted is our business motto from now on, and we're going to do documentaries about like highly produced people's lives. And that becomes their bread and butter forever, ever. Cake Boss, Honey Boo Boo, 600 Pound Life. Great.
I did love Cake Boss. Cake Boss was fun.
You're part of the problem.
Yes, but
but the home value of it all finds its niche with HGTV, because Derek mentioned it earlier, but like everybody had one of these. Like ABC had Extreme Makeover Home Edition, which became wildly more popular than its iterative show.
And it's
Extreme
still
Makeover.
happening. They brought it back, I think,
still
this year.
Yeah, it's wild.
Everyone's trying it, but the place that it lands the best is on HGTV, with the front runner of two major categories of show. The first being House Hunters, which I've already talked about being like wildly fake, but it is easily digestible. And the other one, which are a series of programs that are all about increasing the value of a home. And that is the shtick. So this is Property Brothers, Love It or List It, and of course, Fixer Upper with Chip and Joanna Gaines.
Yes, the notorious homophobes.
Notorious homophobes on HGTV. Get the fuck out of here, Chip Gaines. I don't want to see your face ever again. But
I forgot about all of that. Like, because like they're purely like the one time a month that I have to go into Target because like that's just where my good pharmacy is still.
Yeah.
Like I
they have
walk
a whole section.
I walk by their faces and I'm like, this is basically the only context I know you in at this point. But yes, I forgot about all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there continue to be programs that start on HGTV, but the bread and butter is there's two main columns. People are finding a place, and it's produced to the point of ludicrous, to the point that like people will even not buy a home on House Hunters, and there'll be a celebration where they just paid the owner $50 to host like a wine and cheese party of them with their friends celebrating the purchase of their home. So these are, if they're fun for you to watch, I'm not trying to ruin anyone's fun out in the world, but just know, like, it is reality TV in name only.
Yeah. There's some eye candy sometimes. There's that one where there's like the little twink lady and her like giant bear man husband. Is it Hometown? I don't know if that's the original show they did though. It's Hometown.
Well,
Yeah.
they've done a couple where they're from a small town. They are the better version of Chip and Joanna Gaines because he's actually a queer ally. So good for him.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Good. I just assumed he was a Trump supporter because they're like white people on HGTV. But great. Okay, good. Because he's very hot, and now it makes me feel better about finding him attractive.
Yes,
Good.
she not as much, but he is. So whatever. I don't.
Okay, cool.
You can't. You can get
Well,
divorced. You can
divorce your wife and join us.
You can get divorced on these reality shows, but they will make you keep working with your spouse, and we just simply don't have time for that. Here's the only thing that I will say, because it was a big part of me watching this episode, but I want to shout out Professor Jay Handelman from the University of the British Columbia, who has done research on people who watch these shows become very depressed about living in their homes because they start to identify anything that makes your home personal as lowering the value of your home. And it makes you hate living in your home.
Oh, but a lot of things are suddenly making sense.
Literally, yes. Millennial gray makes so much more sense to me now. Of course, we don't want anything personal. I say from my candy-colored office. But like, oh, wow. That genuinely, that is a missing puzzle piece, in my opinion, of many a former classmate.
I feel like I had to like unlearn some things like in the last handful of years, and I'm realizing like that's where it came from. Oh, yep. Wow. Yep. Okay. Well, I like the space that I live in now. So.
As you should.
Good.
As you both, and we said this before the recording started, but you both are in perfect homes, and I am in the Chip and Joanna Gaines home, where I have neutral colors. My husband's favorite color is gray because he watched 10 years of these fucking shows. That gray shouldn't be your favorite color. That's the wrong thing to have as your favorite color. I have judgment. I've now expressed it.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. That that is one of those things that like I never would have considered like those shows having an impact on how people actually live their lives, because like it is just, everyone says like, oh, like it's just like it's interesting to watch. I'm just gonna throw it on. It's not like I don't have to think about it or anything. But of course it has an effect on you. That is wild, and also very, very funny for the outcome of this episode where it's just very good.
Yeah.
Well, my last thing on that is that part of why it comes from UBC is that the Canadian market is more saturated with home design and improvement shows than the American market. In fact, we import a lot of Canadian productions for HGTV.
Oh, okay.
Didn't know that.
And sell them as American locations for the American audience.
Oh, wait. So like they're airing shows like, oh, this is North Dakota and it's like Ontario or something?
Yeah. Yep.
That's so funny.
I'm so sorry.
That's so funny.
Listeners, please send email in if I have ruined your life. I apologize.
That is okay. I thought like RuPaul's Drag Race was like dodgy in how they produce their
You
content.
wish.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
That's so funny. Oh my. So the next time I'm sitting in a doctor's office and HGTV is playing in the waiting room, I'm just going to be sneering at the TV the whole time. It's being like, everyone, this is so fake.
It's fake.
You don't even know how fake this is. And
So
it's making a negative impact psychologically on your brain.
Yeah. 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 So
No fun allowed.
Derek wanted to cover this because it's an excellent version of television. I wanted to cover it because I have a chip on my shoulder.
A Chip Gaines on your shoulder?
Oh no!
Hey!
What's funny is you say all of that, but I do think that what makes this episode so good is that, like, ironically, it's coming from a place of love for this genre, I think.
Yes.
Because, like, so the majority of stuff you can find behind the scenes on this episode comes from Gorskaya, right? The director and editor of the episode that we talked extensively about. She's done a lot of interviews about it, and all of them, really, it's just, she's very, like, clear that it's sort of like, I love trashy reality TV. She said that she had watched a lot of it, especially during the pandemic, she says. So it kind of makes sense that, like, when they're going into the season, I think that they come up with the joke of Laszlo watching a reality TV show called Go Flip Yourself. Throughout the season, it's seeded in like 3 different episodes. In the first, second, and 6th episode, you see him watching it. It kind of makes sense that while they're coming up with that joke, they're also sort of like, why don't we just do a whole episode taking place in that whole like fake show, right? So that idea for a meta episode riffing on HGTV shows comes up, and Gorskaya is like, can I write it though? Can I direct it though? Can I direct it? I would love to be the one to helm this. And I think, like I said, because she also comes from an editing background, I think that's another reason she gets chosen to direct it, is because it's sort of like, I am a fan of this stuff and I have the chops to actually edit it, because it's in the editing room that you can really make this happen. And she says, and I quote, she says in an interview with Awards Radar, she says, and I quote, "We didn't want to make fun of reality TV when we wanted to make a really good reality television show to the best of our ability and in our schedule, like creating an entirely new show." So they really are not approaching it as a parody, which I think that 30 Rock episode, for example, is kind of more interested in parodying the format than like matching it shot to shot, right? In this case, they're sort of like, we just watch a lot of these, we kind of know the beats of it, or interested in mimicking the beats of it, so like we just want to pretend that we're making a show like this anyway. We just want to act like this is what we're doing, and they approach it like they are genuinely filming an HGTV show.
Yeah. And while it never feels like parody, it does feel like it does call attention to things from these programs, which then I think just naturally get exposed because it's a comedic environment. But it never feels rude, I guess, is the most important.
It's an affectionate parody.
Yeah.
There's I think maybe one moment where it really feels like, oh, that is a joke on the formula, which is when Nadja, like, they're cutting to commercial and Nadja's like, bad news, and then when they come back, she's like, bad news? Like, just two
It's so good. It's such a good
It's such a good joke.
It's
such a
so
good joke.
funny. And it's like, it is like, obviously in a reality show, you wouldn't have someone do 2 takes that are so wildly different, but it happens. So like, that was the only time where I was like, this feels like a joke on reality TV. And the rest was just like a genuine episode of Go Flip Yourself.
And for me, the biggest like parody like element was Marwa, because typically what these programs will do is they'll introduce conflict between the spouses to the degree that the producer encourages conflict between the two people.
Right.
And Marwa is without conflict right now in the show's history. And so there can be no conflict from Marwa.
It's it's really funny. Gorskaya said that she did have friends that worked in reality TV. So she basically called them up and just asked them point blank, hey, how do you shoot this? What kind of lighting kit do you carry? Like asking them all the technical stuff, then connects them with her director of photography.
Nice.
So she can literally be getting the actual advice and in technical specs and information from people she knows. And then also Dane McMaster, her co-editor, watched a bunch of stuff, and together they started what they called a Bible that would basically be like a toolkit of reality TV editing, which essentially worked like as just a list of tropes that they could hit in this episode to make it as much like a reality TV episode as possible, right? Like this, they call them speed rounds, the slow motions, the types of dissolves they use, the exact way that like when they at the beginning, they don't just like do dissolves over houses. It's that weird like flash effect that they have, you know, sometimes like between the dissolves, like that you only see on these types of shows, right? So Gorskaya said that like it was kind of a Herculean effort to basically relearn how to edit their TV show, because she called it, quote, an entirely new language that they wanted to do as authentically as possible. And, you know, and she said specifically, like, it took an enormous amount of effort and care. And I think at least other editors, we hoped, would recognize that. And she called it a ball buster, but that she loved doing it. So,
yeah. I mean, it is a fantastic episode of television, hands down. And I think with all of the context, it's even better. You know, Derek and I have talked about this a lot. We see a little bit fewer gimmick episodes in streaming shows because, you know, when you only have 10 episodes, can you take a risk? And I'm really glad they chose to do so in this series.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, let's talk about some of our favorite moments and things that we want to point about, specific stuff from this episode.
Don't sing if you want to live long. They have no use for your song. You're dead, you're dead, you're dead, you're dead and out of this world. Now your hope and compassion is gone. You've sold out your dream to the world. Stay dead, stay dead, stay dead.
I mean, I gotta tell you, the cold open, which is them just being the Property Brothers, is kind of amazing. And their opening title credits, which are an in-universe title credits for Go Flip Yourself, are fantastic. I do think that What We Do in the Shadows has excellent opening credits. I did miss them, but I loved these because they felt real. They felt like a real show.
We thought we put on the wrong thing when we like first watched it way back when. Like we were like, oh, we've clicked on the wrong Hulu episode, or maybe like someone got it mixed up. And then very quickly when they're like, today we're looking at this really old decrepit house, we were like, oh, this is gonna be great. Okay, never mind, we're in. This is perfect.
Yeah. There's no frame story for it. You just go right into the episode, which I love. I love that so much. Yeah. And the fact that you immediately have the twin hosts like immediately making those like really bad cheesy jokes like, oh, brothers can't live with them, you know, like just it's great. Like it you know, made for the most like milquetoast like baseline audience. Like I love that. It's so well done.
Yeah. And I also love how like the most out of this formula we get are the flashbacks of Nadja hypnotizing everyone involved. But they're so involved, and she's like, and you will like even remember back, you will edit this in as a flashback so that everyone who like watches this like knows that we're not vampires. And it's just like so like weirdly as like they go on the long run of like, well, you know, sometimes my girlfriend watches the rough cut, and like, you know, we've also got all these editors back at home, and she's like, all of those nerds too. Like it's just so perfect. And so because I was like at first I was like, oh wait, there is definitely like a dead guy in the background of this shot. People would notice that. And then I'm like, oh duh, of course. Like Nadja's just hypnotizing the entire audience with this episode. This is pretty much every episode Nadja's my highlight, but like she had some great moments in this.
No, it's really smart. I think they utilize the bizarreness of them being on a reality show really well by having the hypnosis stuff and making a huge joke out of it, and then also, you know, the end revealing that like none of that mattered anyway.
None of it was real, so with the exception of the one guy who died.
Right. Right. It's a very smart way to approach it. Also very funny. I would love to know how they approached and what they thought of being like, we're casting you 2 twins, but like one of you is going to die at the beginning of the episode. Only one of you is really going to get to like be around most of the time. I find that very, very funny.
Yes, especially like I'm sure there are people out there who think that it was just green screen, that it was like Lindsay Lohan in The Parent Trap. And they were just like, well, they don't want to do that for the rest of the episode. So like, they're just killing one off. No, they're real twins. They've done so much stuff together. It is very funny that they have like, they probably filmed like, well, actually, no, all of the stock footage and stuff, like it was probably a couple days together, but like it is funny to just immediately be like, and you're good. Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah. Thank you. That's right for you.
Yep.
Staten Island, New York. Home to the world-famous Staten Island Ferry, a blossoming real estate market, and the Daltrey brothers' toughest challenge yet.
Yikes, what a mess. Hey, don't be so hard on yourself, you knucklehead. Bran, you talking about the house? Take a look, you got crumbling statues. I see them. You got overgrown lawn and... What am I smelling? Is that sulfur? Yeah, I'm getting notes of, decomposing animals. P-U-E. Yeah, I think someone should call an exterminator, too.
I do love all, because it's just something we don't see in the show a lot. I love all of the bright, beautiful imagery of New York City with the voice that's playing about like how great Staten Island is, and the world famous Staten Island Ferry, which is the stupidest thing ever. But that comes from things like this. When we watch things about Europe, they will say like famous things, and I'm like, that is like down the street for me. That is not real. That is not significant. And I love that
all
was
the
one
stock
that
footage, like.
So good. So funny.
On the brightness note, like I did obviously find it very funny that every single renovation was like, we're putting in big skylights. We're opening everything up. We're just going to do a wall of windows. And like, especially with the twist at the end of like, nah, like this has been a vampire the whole time. We know what we're doing. It's just like such a funny note for just like to then have Guillermo the entire time be like, I don't know about that. I don't think that's maybe not a great idea.
It's so funny. That's where he sings throughout the series, but I just love all of the sort of thrown away like we can't have windows.
That's not a great, I don't know, that doesn't sound great to me.
Yeah it's really, I mean, I think that they play it really well of like it totally makes sense why all the vampires are buying into this, because like they're all a little bit dumb, but like I think having Laszlo already be a super fan, so he's like, he is so extremely bought in that he like is encouraging all of the bad decisions in the homeowner stuff, because he's just playing along with the game essentially that he's been watching the whole time.
What the Am I on Go Flip Yourself?
Yes, you are.
My name's Laszlo. I'm such a fan.
My name's Bran.
I know who you are. Initially, the twins aspect confused me slightly.
It does a lot of people.
Then I watched 3 seasons.
Yeah.
And then I realized that you're both very different.
Sure.
In posture and personality.
We need to fix this house.
Tell me about it. I sent my tape in months ago.
I feel like there's like also like they're all kind of dumb, and there's a level of vanity of like, because as we learn at the very end of the entire series, they've had a lot of documentaries made about them. They like agree to, which is just like also such a perfect way to end the show, to like have, sorry if people, guess I'm just spoiling this entire program now, but like to have this mockumentary show about immortal beings be like, oh, did you think this was the first time? People have been doing this for years. Yeah. Like we've been all about documentary things. So of course they'd be like, oh, there's another one. We're doing 2 at the same time. Hell yeah, let's go. Like it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
For the format of it all, I like that. Okay, so Laszlo's bought in because he's like a super fan, but it feels like Nandor and Naja both need something that is their thing. For Naja, it's her gold toilet.
So stupid.
Doesn't matter.
Like,
gold toilet.
Where did that fucking come from? It's so funny.
And for Nandor, it is a framed picture of the words. What is it?
Live, laugh, love, or something like that.
No,
home is where the wine is.
Home is where the wine is.
My favorite joke of that, though, like, I mean, it's extremely funny that Nandor is so enchanted by this sign that says home is where the wine is. My favorite joke about it, though, is that like by the end, when they're sort of like, you know, when Guillermo has like basically tricked them into thinking they need to like redo his room too,
His
right?
room, yeah.
They like basically are swapping out like, oh, you can't have your golden toilet because we're allocating those costs to this. When they show basically the home is where the wine is sign, they get rid of that one thing, and that apparently is the equivalent cost to like completely fixing like the entire septic system under the house, which implies that like that one sign, that one custom sign they call it, costs like $1,000 or something.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
And again, not to be too much of like that asshole, but that is exactly something that they do in these home renovation shows, is they ask the couples what's something that would carry a lot of emotional value for you, especially when they know there is going to be a problem that they're going to have to sacrifice something for later. It is planned by the on-site production team from the very beginning, and that is why they ask questions like that. And that is why you get reactions to, no, my bathtub, because I didn't think that buying this 200-year-old house would involve some plumbing changes. That sung for me in this episode because of how they chose to use it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, if we eliminate Nadja's gold toilet. Hang on a second. If we eliminate it, we can open up that wall and create a ventilation system for Guillermo.
What the is this? Club Med? We need the gold toilet!
Hang on a second, because we're also going to have to eliminate Nander's custom sign that says home is where the wine is. Because we can then close the open septic tank, which apparently is pooling underneath Guillermo's bed.
I guess if there's no other way.
And finally, even grouchy Guillermo was grinning.
Yeah, like that they're even hitting like the narrative beats of the typical episode of this is really clever.
Truly. I love the like call from the building inspector. I mean, I also love that it ends up being Guillermo, which is totally funny.
It's really funny. Yeah. I love Nandor's man cave as well that they give him. And it's just like he gets like a whole ass like basketball hoop there, and he's just like, I love balls. Like, yep, don't we all love balls?
or when he's being shown the bar, he's like, oh yeah, this would be perfect. And he like puts his butt out and leans into it as like, this is where I'll get fucked. It's just, it's
I love that.
Truly
I love it.
Incredible.
The attic is so great because one, it's also very funny that that's the only room that actually gets renovated. Like that in the closet at the end. But like, I love Nadja's reaction to like, oh, we're gonna redo the attic, and she's like, the attic holds so many sentimental memories of us moving all our crap up there. Like, it's just such a perfect line that like you think she's gonna be sentimental, and she's like, no, that's where we keep all of our shit. But then it's also just so like I had sort of forgotten about Marwa as a character because she's only really in this season, right?
Yeah. But not even in all of it.
Right. But like, it's so funny to have Nandor realizing during this episode that like, oh, I've wished for my wife to be just like me, and I'm sick of her because of that, which means she's also sick of me, and I've just made the perfect space for her to be alone in. Of course I got locked out of my own man cave.
Yeah. It's really funny. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I think all the pricing on everything is really smart too, because it's just like absurd prices for these things. There's like one it's just like a basket of just like some sort of metallic looking balls that are like hundreds of dollars or something like that. Like the what is it? The bespoke sliding door. Like it's just like they isn't it like a used horse saddle that like
for their bar stools?
Oh yeah, they were like $1,000 or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just incredible. And again, something that you would see in these programs, because you can watch them be like, oh, we spent $10,000 on paint, and you're like, go down the street to the hardware store.
How?
What is
what
this paint?
are you using?
We could put a little skylight in the floor there and look through it and see Guillermo on the toilet.
No, we don't need a skylight in the bathroom.
Nonsense. Clear sight lines are what buyers are looking for these days, right, Brian?
Hey, who's the host of this show? This guy or me? I love it. You know what I also love? Look at this distressed wood. I mean, it's giving everyone the shabby chic look that I know that you love.
Meets French country.
Thank you very much. And how about the whimsical seating? Have we talked about it yet? I don't think we have.
Yeah. And just like, I think we mentioned it, but it's just like all the language they use, and like when the characters start quoting it, like I love Nandor saying the phrase like clear sight lines are what buyers are looking for these days, and being so proud of himself for like repeating the thing that he's heard on this show now. it's just like they get the language of it all
Yeah.
so right.
And every one of Brand's designs is the grayish on the walls, no attitude, nothing different, nothing that speaks to this family.
A sign that just says love, just put in the living room.
And I thought that was another nice like critique of these programs without being, mean.
Yeah. I really like when they do get like the end of their renovation where it's just like a few kind of random things put up on there, and like Guillermo goes into his room and it's just as a poster of like these like a skimpily dressed women with the phrase hauling ass on it.
It's the college dorm posters. Yeah,
and he just looks at it and says ew.
Yeah. It's so great. It's so incredible. And that's what takes us into the walk-in closet, because that's the only thing that was actually, the man cave, but Marwa's up there. She's done.
Well, I think Marwa did that all herself. I think she was like, we're getting this done no matter what. Yeah.
That's right. What they call sweat equity on these programs. And so they go into the walk-in closet, and that's when the episode has its big reveal.
I thought this was supposed to be a his and hers closet.
Change of plans, sweetie. Live with it.
Hold on a second. Where the is my witch's skin hat?
Who gives a
You mean this
Witch's skin hat?
Oh! Ha ha! Simon the Devious. I knew it was you, you bastard.
No, you didn't.
Friend, do something.
What do you want me to do, you knuckleheads?
That's clever.
I was talking to Bran.
You idiot, I am Bran.
What have you done with Bran?
Bran never existed. It's always been me.
So you mean...
Yes. Did I create, pitch, sell, and produce 150 episodes of Go Flip Yourself for the sole purpose of regaining access to your home here in New York City? That I might take what is rightfully mine, this witch's clit of a hat. Yes, I did.
You really are the most devious bastard in New York City.
Well, we're not in New York City.
Yeah. It's one of those things where like I part of me is sort of like, I wouldn't have been mad if they just committed and made all of this real and didn't have the swerve at the end.
Yes. I
think the swerve at the end is funny, and like not that I needed it, but like it does explain how all of this happened and is possible anyway. But I remember watching it the first time. I was like a little bit bummed that it's sort of like they've kind of taken you out of the reality show stuff. But I will say what sells me on it is how absurd it is that it turns out to be Nick Kroll's character was this was all his plan anyway, but it wasn't just his plan to like pretend to be this TV show on this day. He literally created, pitched, and sold and produced 150 episodes of this TV show for real, solely for the purpose of then being able to later get into this house to steal Laszlo's lucky/cursed hat that he has wanted throughout the whole show.
Yeah.
Like the absurdity of that is so funny that he genuinely made a hit HGTV show all along. Like the show was real.
Yeah.
It was just always him all along. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
It's so stupid.
I love the bit where he's like, even the home collection at Kohl's, and Nadja just goes, sell out, and then just like grins at the camera like, this is how I'm getting back at him. Like I'm just calling him a sellout for working with Kohl's.
I'm a lot on Derek's side on this, but for me, what delivered it was him being like, oh no, Toby's a real guy. Like I found him and curated him and like built up his skills, and then you killed him.
He didn't even like find and hire an actual home renovator. They found just a random guy and trained him to be an architect and renovator and like gave him the skills and everything for this. It's hilarious.
And I love when
they go such a great mile for this.
Yeah. And I love when they're like, wouldn't it have just been easier to find an interior designer? He's like, well, when you have the look, you have the look. Like it needed to be this guy.
Yeah. I mean, he's right is the problem. Right. I think the other thing that gets remembered a lot from this episode is New York City.
It is. I think that was the bit when like I realized that this had been a bit that had been building for like 4 years at this point. And that is just kind of the apex of the New York City. Like just so bonkers.
It's just like, I love that the show just lets Matt Berry just be unleashed with his like nonsense line deliveries. Like, Yeah, it's so good. And it is, I think, it's remembered for a reason. Though I will say one thing that gets forgotten is that like Nick Kroll has weird deliveries of pronunciations of New York City too.
Yes.
So it's like Matt Berry's character is building on what he's already doing.
Yes.
Like, which makes it even funnier that they're almost having this like weird, like line delivery off between the two of who can make the most weird sounding sing-songy way of saying New York City. Like, it's so funny.
Yeah.
Makes no sense. Like, why? I don't know, but it's great.
I went back and I watched all of the Witch Hat episodes, and I think like this episode is actually like why that stands out as such a thing for what we do in the shadows. Because like I was talking to a couple friends about like, oh yeah, I'm watching all these episodes. Can you believe it's only in 3? Like they only have 3 episodes dedicated to the Witch Hat and the feud with Nick Kroll. And I think it's because they committed to the bit so hard here that like this entire episode is building up to something we've already seen twice. Because this is the last time we see the Witch Hat or Nick Kroll for the entire show. So like, I think because they went out on like such a, like this entire, not just the episode, this entire show is now like in universe series is now built to taking the cursed witch hat back, is like it just like kind of locked in as like, oh, this is now like what we do in the shadows canon. Like this hat can be like an Easter egg in anything, and it's like the what we do in the shadows hat. It's so like it's just so funny.
Yeah, I agree. Do you all have any favorite names for the names of Nick Kroll's vampire crew? That for that joke that goes on for a very long time. Like I feel like maybe they're like the episode's slightly too short. Let's add a few more in here.
I can't remember which episode this was from because like that is also a recurring bit in all of Nick Kroll's episodes. This might have been the second one, but it also might have been the renovation one. But I love that he's like, oh yes, 3 of our new recruits, Neil, Patrick, and Harris. Is just
that's a good one.
Yeah,
that is a
like,
good one.
and it's just like they're the weird sisters or the strange sisters, like that one who just shrieks all the time.
Yeah. Mine is absolutely the wickedly talented Adele Dazeem.
Yeah, Adele Dazeem was going to be mine. I guess then as a backup, I will choose the unnamed, but we just call him like Phil or whatever. Was also just...
he who shall not be named, but it's Greg.
Yeah, that was great. That was great. I mean, that was great. But no, you're right. It was Adele Dazeem. It was absolutely
Adele Dazeem is so funny. And then like this is picking up on one of the previous Witch Hat episodes, and he's just like, oh, and of course Elvis. And it's just like a vampire Elvis Presley.
So silly. This show, I love how this show's unafraid to just be silly and stupid sometimes.
Yes.
Like it's so good.
But the curse of the witch's hat seems to be true because Nick Kroll continues to host this fucking show as Simon the Devious. And the next house he shows, which is over the closing credits, he like turns on the stove for some reason and it blows up the house.
Yep. Oh, right, because all real chefs know that you only cook with gas, and he turns on the stove, and you just see the entire house explode, and the witch hat flies over the camera.
Yeah. I love too, they give his dead brother like there's an in memoriam like thing real quick, but it's like there for a half a second before it moves so they can have the next time on sequence with the credits under it, which a lot of the credits are also fake, I think, aren't they?
Yeah,
that shows it first.
They are.
Yes.
Yeah, because I had
So good.
I had a second set of credits that was like actually show credits.
Same. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I totally forgot about it until you mentioned it, Derek. But it is sort of peak this version of television to put up an in memoriam and then squeeze it out for whatever you're doing as like promotion for the next thing.
Yep.
Yeah. So good. So good. The only other things that I had for this, my alternate for my introduction, if I wasn't going to do the Laszlo line, was going to be referred by introducing myself as a moldy stuffed bear, because one of my favorite little bits is like when they're just showing random things in the house, they show their stuffed bear, just call the title under it is moldy stuffed bear, which I think is hilarious.
Incredible.
Also, you can go to the FX website and buy Go Flip Yourself merch. Like that exists. Like you can buy like hats and like mugs and stuff with the logo on it. It's really fun. Like, and you still can right now.
I adore that.
the fact you still can is what's so fun for me.
Right?
Because like it would make sense
Right?
if they did it for like the rest of the season, maybe, but like that's just the staying power of what we do in the shadows, I guess. Like it is a perfect episode.
$34.95 for a hat if you want to go ahead and purchase that right now. Little much for a black hat with a show logo on it, but you know, it's a novelty thing.
For a show that doesn't even exist. But
right.
Those are the best. That's the best type.
Oh yeah, it's a deep cut.
Right.
Matt, it has been so incredible having you on this episode. You do so many incredible things out in this world, so we were so lucky to have a little bit of your time to join us. Would you please tell our listeners where they can find more of you and the great things that you're doing in the animation world?
Sure. Thank you so much for having me. This has been so much fun. I am, and like I said, I'm an animator and director. You can find more of my work at www.tinysiren.com. Me and my team are currently working on a feature-length animated movie, which was just successfully funded on Kickstarter, which is very, very exciting. And if you listeners would like to help us continue, we actually have, you can still donate to the Kickstarter even though it's over. We still have, we're accepting donations through, I think, the end of next May. If anyone is interested in getting like a fun little shirt or a sticker or anything like that for helping out some independent artists make a movie with Jinx Monsoon and Jujubee. So cool. But it's been a lot of fun, as has recording this podcast. Thank you so much for having me.
Yay.
Matt, would you like people to find you individually online?
Sure. You can do that. I'm at matt.t.b.r on Instagram, and I think I always forget what my Blue Sky handle is. I'm called Matt Makes Mermaid Movies on everything, but my @ on Blue Sky is at mattbr.bisky.social.
Perfect.
Cool.
Perfect.
Love it. Well, thank you again. As for me, you can find me most places at Derek B. Gale. My other podcasts, other than this, include Walloping Web Snappers, where we do deep dives into every Spider-Man cartoon ever made, as well as Screonk, where we're going through the Godzilla films, Falling with Style, where we've gone through the Pixar filmography, as well as other dips into animation, and also Lee Carvalho's Potting Challenge, where we look at the Simpsons tie-in video games, as well as deep dives into pop culture history and Simpsons history. I think we most recently would have done an episode on Road Rage at this point, Simpsons Road Rage, which is actually a Simpsons game that is good for once, that I have enjoyed playing a lot and will be really, and I'm sure was a really fun conversation, so you can check that out. What about you, David?
Yeah, you can find me almost everywhere as Dmuma. That's DMUMA. And I have a couple other podcasts as well. One of them is called Are You My Mother?, where recently Matt was on to talk about the Once Upon a Time universe, and we went deep into it. So that was a lot of fun.
That was such a fun episode. Such a fun episode.
Another one of magical people living in the real world, trying to sort of trying to keep it a secret, except at some point they're just like, whatever, who cares? We can't even leave.
We're all fairy tales. It's cool.
Yeah,
whatever.
we all know what's up. We're good.
And that is called Are You My Mother? I also do a podcast with my friends Marilee and Tyler where we talk about horror media. And so it is October. We're talking about Dracula all month long. So if you liked this conversation about vampires, hear me read the original Dracula text on Fear Coded pod, wherever you get your podcasts.
Gimmicks is a proud part of the Glitterjaw Queer Podcast Collective. If you're looking for other queer media podcasts, like all the ones we mentioned, check out the full roster of Glitterjaw shows at glitterjaw.com.
And if you want to support this show by giving us a little tip, you can buy us a coffee at ko-fi.com/gimmicspod. You can also follow the podcast at gimmicspod on Blue Sky and Instagram, and email us your questions, feedback, and corrections to gimmicspodcast@gmail.com. Please rate, review, and subscribe on all podcast platforms. And until next time, friends, keep being weird.
Crawl till dawn on my hands and knees. God damn these bite marks deep in my arteries. Crawl till dawn on my hands and knees. God damn these vampires.
the wickedly talented Adele Dazeem.